Hi, my name is Jeremy, this is Red Means Recording, and welcome to Modular Monday on my channel, where I talk about modular gear, my current absolute obsession. I asked my patrons what they would rather see, as opposed to maybe just focusing on one piece of gear, and the general answer was a patch from scratch video. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm recording this on the 5th of July, and this is the last time this rack is going to be in this configuration. I have a new series of racks coming, and this is going to get built out quite a bit more. So we're going to work with what we have here and hopefully make something that's listenable. So I want to start with the morphogen. Let's check out what we can do with that. I want to dial in one of the pads that I've loaded on the morphogen to start this off. All right, now that I have a pad loaded, or a series of pads with spice markers on them, I'm going to find one that I like. But I need to hit play first. So Pam's is going to send clock over to here. Actually, I can just remove clock and play, and it should just play. Okay, I like those last two pads. I should have a morphogen video out by now, so if you're wondering how this thing works, go check it out. But basically, I have a whole bunch of stuff loaded on here with slice marks to delineate different samples on it, and I can now play around with messing with these. So I'm going to hit play on the KeyStep Pro, which is going to start sending clock to Pam's, and you can see that Pam's is blinking. Pamela's new workout here, and that means it's sending clock and play to the morphogen here. So we're going to start dialing in our morphogen settings, which we're going to start with the play amount, or excuse me, the play gate here. So I'm going to send a gate signal from Pamela's new workout here to the organize function. And what this is going to do is, at a very low level, in terms of the voltage it's sending out, switch between those two pads. Cool. So what we just did was just send a little bit of voltage to the organized thing here, which will move through all the spices that are in this particular reel. And just by sending a little bit of voltage, we're able to switch between two distinct points within the context of all the spices. And we get a little chord progression, because that's how I've set up the sample. So let's go ahead and turn that back on and mess with the settings a little bit. First, I want to figure out what pitch I'm at. Let's dial in an actual pitch. So I'm going to go over here. This is my zero coast up here. All right, so that's about as close to F sharp as we're going to get. So tuning the morphogen can be a bit of a pain in the ass, but we're just going to call our key F sharp and go with it. So I do have to decide on a tempo and stuff, but I'm going to play with the morphogen a little bit and see if there's anything I can do besides just have it like play the samples back. That's kind of cool. Let's set up our abstract data ADE32 here to send this like a sidechain signal into the SOS thing. So first I need to send a clock, and I have all my clocks coming out of the KeyStep Pro, and that's right there. You can see it reacting. So I need to give this a 4 on the floor. There we go. Let's pick output 8 and put it into the SOS thing. And now it's basically adjusting the volume of the output of morphogen, and we can go in and shape this. So output select, and we're going to select a ramp. We're going to hit option to reverse the ramp. Oh, no, we're fine the other way. So by sending weird clocks to the abstract data, I can get interesting changes in the way that the modulation that's all clock to the clock changes. So I can just play with this and get interesting rhythms, which is pretty cool. But we'll go ahead and just leave this 4 on the floor for right now. Cool. Let's go up to the zero coast, which I think we're already on track 2. Track 2 is sending all of my MIDI data to the Hermod, so anything that I have active on the Hermod, in this case track 7 is this. We'll play here. Cool. Turn that down a little bit now. I don't want to add drums quite yet, so I'm going to go over to track 1, which is my Piston Honda right here. And I'm going to try to figure out something to play. We're going to send some modulation to the Piston Honda now. So this yellow cable is plugged into Quart, which is an envelope generator, and these three knobs here, X, Y, and Z, control different aspects of the wavetable on the Piston Honda. They go through different parts of the wavetable. So by sending modulation from an envelope that's being triggered also by the Trig sequence of that sequence, I basically get an envelope control over the, whatever this is plugged into as timbre, and I can adjust it. And Z here is currently plugged into one of these. I'm not sure which one. But I just want kind of a little plonk to add interest here. That's cool. Okay, let's go to track 2, which is second Piston Honda oscillator, which is running through the Happy Nerding VCF, which allows me to drive and filter it, which is really, really fun. I'm just going to keep this really simple. All right, now we're going to play with the second oscillator here. Streams is doing our envelope shaping for these two oscillators here, but right now I want to dive into this friend here and turn the drive down. Turn the drive up a little bit. Or actually, I kind of liked it driven. Okay, cool. So now I want to modulate that frequency modulation input here of the filter with one of the outputs of this friend. And we're going to go for 3. And we're going to select the output. And we're going to select the output type. In this case, it's on sample and hold. I think I want it to be like a triangle. Happy Nerding is really cool because it has 2 knobs, basically. And the second knob says how much of the input voltage is going to modulate that particular thing. So now we just dial this into taste. Let's go ahead and pan these 2. Now let's try the bandpass output. I like that better. That's cool. That's cool. All right, I'm going to modulate the x-axis. I actually have one of those right here. Turn this up. Cool. Let's turn the drive up. So we're just going to keep adding these oscillators. Track 3 is plots. Quart is doing the envelope generation for the plots. So everything here is running into this A138S Stopefer mini stereo mixer. I have the outs going into these little splitters, and some of the outs are going into the Afterlater Monsoon, which is a clouds clone with all of the different firmwares on it, like the Parasite firmwares, which add a bunch of functionality. And so this is going to my main outs on the Mackie mixer over here. And then it's getting split into this little mini stereo or mono mixer, which is generally sent into the morphogen to be sampled. I'm going to have a whole bunch more analog mixing coming my way when I do the new rack. But I have morphogene unplugged right now from that input, because when you modulate the SOS knob here, with something plugged in, it's going to switch between the source, which would be the whole rack's output, and the sampled material. And right now, I just want it to sweep between nothing, because nothing's plugged in, and the morphogene output of the sample that we're playing. So that's what's just going on there in terms of gain staging and stuff. So at this point, I'm going to bring in the monsoon a little bit. I'm not exactly sure in what capacity I'm going to do this, but we might end up modulating like a whole bunch. So that's what the monsoon is doing right now. Okay, we're going to modulate that freeze. And we're going to use PAMs to do that. So I'm going to take the freeze input and I'm plugging it into 3. Now you can see that freeze is being triggered on the modulation of PAMs. And we're going to use the Euclidean mode on PAMs to create a pattern, and then use our skip to only have it hit now and then. So let's give this some interesting step value like 18 and give it like 12 triggers. So now we've basically sort of like step modulated in a somewhat random fashion the freeze function of this, which gives us a kind of a cool sound. And we're going to mix this back in. Now we could modulate more on the monsoon. I've actually gotten some really great cool results from modulating all this stuff rhythmically. So let's go ahead and use the 8032 for that. Okay, so we have one more oscillator left, and that's the Pico Voice. Let's go ahead and add drums first, though. So we're going to use the KeyStep Pro to sequence the QD drum machine. So we don't need this at all, actually. We just need to go to our drum track. So the way my KeyStep Pro is set up, you can see all the gates here are being used. These are the 4 channels of the QD. That's the Pico Drum 2, and then these are various gates. So we're going to add some drums. So track 1, and I think we're going to do like a breakbeat thing. So let's dial in these drums. I do need to bring the rest of this stuff in to get a feel of it, and I know it's going to be off in time because I kind of fucked up my whole perception of where the downbeat was, but we'll deal. It's fine. All right, now I'm going to go to mix and turn up the compressor. And I'm going to go into my hi-hat, which is over here, and change it. Modulate that a little bit. The way that the QD works is you have 4 CV inputs for modulation, and you also have an internal LFO. So let's go down and try to assign the internal LFO to the decay of our hi-hat up here and see what that sounds like. Okay, we're going to use the Pico Voice up here for a lead. All right, so that's all of our instruments. We do still have 1 channel on the QD, and we could use that for wavetable stuff. This has a really cool wavetable sound thing going on here. No, I think we'll just use it for other. I think we'll just use it for other percussion. So let's go ahead and find. Oh shit! Let's go ahead and find something that works for us. So I've got a bunch of drum and bass loops hooked up to the sample library, the sample bank here, and we might be able to kind of get something interesting out of that. So let's go ahead and mute all these tracks so we can just hear what's going on with the drum machine. And we're gonna modulate the mod, which is gonna scroll through all the different sounds that are available within that particular bank. So I think that's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool drum section. Let's bring in the rest of our shit. Well, I guess that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions or comments or would like to see this done differently, let me know. My name is Jeremy. This is Red Means Recording. And next time you see me, we'll have a lot more toys to play with. Have a wonderful day. Take care.